Should you buy Borderlands 3 in 2022? Borderlands is one of those franchises I heard so much about but never really got into, but I had a few requests to review the series, so I thought, why not do Borderlands 3? We'll talk story and characters with no spoilers and have a good old chat about gameplay, and if you've already played Borderlands, leave your thoughts down below in the comments so everyone else can get another perspective other than mine. That's pretty important. Borderlands 3 is one of the best looter shooters I've played, but it's so frustrating in so many ways it's kind of mind-blowing, so we need to figure out if Borderlands 3 is actually worth buying for you guys right now. The one thing I heard was praised about the Borderlands series was its villains, mainly Handsome Jack I think it was called. That was until Borderlands 3 came out, and that's very easy to see why. Characters like the villains Tyrene and Troy Calypso I think they're called, are unbearably obnoxious. I'm surprised they got past the early storyboard stage. These characters just did not work for me at all. They are supposed to be this over-the-top satire of social media influencers, so I originally thought I'd be really down to see it because I really don't like those over-the-top fake influencers, you know? But I was just really disappointed that I didn't click with the writing here at all.
Alright, time to welcome the Sun Smashers into our family! We'll post the vid later along with some new Let's Plays. Signing off for now, don't forget to like, follow, and obey.
Another perfect live stream from our infallible God Queen Tyrene! The Holy Broadcast Center opens once again to hear your sins.
This isn't just a villain problem though, most of the characters I really did not like that much. The writers seem to have gone for a make a character and give them one big personality trait and just slam it in your face anytime you interact with them. It's basically just super basic attempts at humor, so knowing that the previous Borderlands games were praised for their character work and humor, I was really surprised by how bad they fumbled the bag here. Like, I always say this is just my own opinions, so I may be in the minority, but it just didn't work for me. This isn't the case for every character though. Some are bearable, like Lilith, Claptrap sometimes, and a character you meet towards the end of the game that I won't spoil, but other than that, it's pretty mediocre unfortunately. There is only one character, and I mean one, that I genuinely liked, and that character was an AI teddy bear. I'm not kidding. It was a talking teddy bear. It's the only character I actually liked in this story. The story itself though, it just gets the job done. You're a vault hunter, so the plot is find keys for vault and open vault. It's nothing amazing, but it gets the job done, which for a looter shooter is actually quite commendable. Looter shooters usually have terrible campaigns in my experience. The original Destiny 2's original campaign was okay. So this was actually one of the better ones I have personally played. I haven't played Warframe or anything like that, that gets praised a lot. So despite the bad character work here, which is just super frustrating because I feel like I played one of the best looter shooters out there right now, but at the same time I know the story is just complete ass. So it's just really frustrating. So screw it, the thing you care about is the gameplay when it comes to looter shooters, so let's just do it, let's tackle this game. Borderlands 3 has a really strong opening, but once you get to the 2-hour point, Borderlands 3 explodes when it comes to addictive gameplay structure. This is nothing majorly new, but it feels like the most polished looter shooter I have personally played. You run, shoot, melee, jump, slide, and explode with supernatural abilities all throughout Borderlands 3, constantly looking for that new weapon that completely switches up how you play this game. Gunplay feels great, weapon design is great, enemy variety is great, boss battles most of the time are pretty great, level design, not so good. Gunplay here is simply fantastic. Every weapon has weight, from your meaty shotguns to your little pistols that shoot grenades of corrosive acid. Yeah, that went from 0 to 100 real quick. Gun variety here is just insane. There are so many weapons with different element effects and special abilities, and that's before you even hit the legendary weapons. Oh my god, when you unlock those legendary weapons, you can't help but get giddy with excitement because you just have no idea what this weapon is going to do. I'm not exaggerating, you pretty much can't predict what a weapon will do unless you read its stats, but that's cheating. Just shoot the gun. Stop looking at the stats, guys. Just shoot the gun. It's more fun that way. So not only do you have your traditional, you know, your shotguns, your snipers, your assault rifles, your SMGs and stuff like that, all of those guns have different elemental effects. So you've got like freeze weapons, you've got fire weapons, you've got poison weapons, you've got grenade weapons, like pistols that shoot grenades. There's a lot of creativity that went into the weapons here, and you won't get bored. If you're one of those players that, you know, oh, I'm a bit sick of just shooting a sniper or shooting an assault rifle or blah 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 blah, this will do it. There is so much creativity when it comes to weapon design. Bosses most of the time are awesome. A lot of them have different elemental effects that you need to adapt to for the first time you encounter them, and yes, I said first time. Unfortunately, some of these mini bosses get reused quite often, so once you do it once, you get it, so the experience gets worse every time you play it because you've done it before. There are some of these big boss battles though that you only face once, and they are pretty awesome to fight, but not the most sophisticated. Borderlands goes for the scale rather than the depth when it comes to boss fights, but I enjoyed most of them, like I said, and I thought it was awesome. A massive negative though is the UI. The UI is just awful. The map is so unnecessarily complicated to navigate in the menus and often cause more frustration rather than streamlining the experience, which is what the map is for. I can't really tell you how many times I ran to an objective only for the mission to be 3 levels above me with no way to get up, so I had to go all the way back around to cross a bridge. It's just, the map does a terrible job of giving that information to you. Speaking of the world though, there isn't just one, there's 4. There's 4 planets you can explore with multiple areas to explore on each map separated by loading screens. So you've got one area on this planet and then you've got another area on this planet, you've got another one, you know, so there's like 3 or 4 different areas that you can explore on each planet that is separated by a loading screen. I really liked being able to explore different planets as they each have their own aesthetics, but this is just, it's just very old. This is like really old design. The same thing happened with the level design. This is a very dated game in terms of mission and level design. You go to an area, follow a waypoint, shoot some enemies, collect 3 or 4 items, and then rinse and repeat until you get to a boss. This is early 2011 type stuff, and while I enjoyed the design for the first 10 hours, it was just like really addictive. I couldn't put it down. But once I hit the 15-hour mark and the game just kept going and kept going and kept going, I really got tired of the level design because it's just the same thing over and over again. I think I've got about 25 hours in Borderlands 3 right now, in about 3 or 4 days of playtime basically. 3 or 4 days playing the game, 25 hours. So I spent a lot of time. I couldn't put it down for most of the time, but towards the end, it just couldn't hold my attention for the last like 5 hours of the game. I just like, okay, I kind of want to get this over with, which is unfortunate because the 10 hours that I had was really great fun. It's one of those moments. I know I get a lot of hate for saying this on other games, but I feel like the story itself should have been a bit shorter, to be perfectly honest with you, because the story is, if anything, it's just your introduction to these kinds of games. It's the introduction. The end game stuff is where you really want to be, because that's where things get really hectic. So yeah, I do think it could have been a little bit shorter. All in all, Borderlands 3 is a looter shooter, and I actually liked it. I liked a looter shooter, so I think that says enough. Despite the really crap writing and repetitive level design, I had a lot of fun with my time in Borderlands 3 thanks to the really great gunplay with a ridiculous amount of weapons, topping that off with great boss fights most of the time, with multiple planets that are actually worth exploring despite the crap UI, which provides a super satisfying core gameplay loop that will leave you satisfied for at least 20 hours, I reckon, and more than likely way more than that if you really like looter shooters. I do think you should buy Borderlands 3 in 2022. Thank you for watching.